Hello, I'm Paul Peterson. I'm the editor-in-chief of Education Next, and I have with me Marty West, our research editor and executive editor for Education Next, and the two of us, along with William Howell, have been conducting a nationally representative poll of public opinion on education issues, which is being reported by Education Next in the upcoming issue. And one of the intriguing findings in the report looks very dull at the first instance because you find very little change in overall national support for charter schools. But hidden in there is some more interesting information. So, Marty, what's that?
Yeah, so when we look at the population as a whole, we just see this modest uptick in support for charter schools since 2008 from 42 to 44%. But when you break it out by type of respondent, we see actually quite large increases in support for charters in the minority community. So among African Americans, for example, support for charters has increased from 42 to 64% between 2008 and 2010. Among Hispanics, the change is a little less pronounced, but support has gone from 37 to 47%. So you see these big increases.
Pretty big jumps. One of the things we did in this survey was to do a special look at the people who live in communities where they have charter schools, on the assumption that a lot of people have no idea what a charter school is.
Yeah, in fact, we found a lot of evidence in prior surveys to support that, right? When you ask people whether charters can teach religion, whether they can charge tuition, people have no idea what they're talking about. So you wonder, can they really have an opinion about these things? So we oversampled respondents who live in a zip code where a charter is located to see whether the presence of a charter is, correlated with support for them. And we find a little bit of evidence for that. 48% of people in areas with a charter support charters, as compared with 44% in the population at large. But when we look separately at parents in those zip codes, the picture gets a little more dramatic. 57% of parents living nearby a charter are supportive of the formation of charter schools. So if you're a parent,
not necessarily sending your kid to a charter school, but it's in your neighborhood, over half of them think this is a good idea, then the opposition is pretty small, because there's a lot of people who have no opinion at all. So any of these percentages, you should remember, aren't the other side is not.
That's right.
What is that? What's the percentage who have no opinion?
36% in the public at large have no opinion. So,
or say they neither support nor oppose.
So supporters of charter schools, of the formation of charter schools, is what we ask, outnumber opponents by more than 2 to 1, 44% to 19% in the population at large. Those differences are especially large among parents living in areas with charters. And we also see that parents in those areas, they're not experts on charter policy by any means, but they do know considerably more than the public at large about the mechanics of getting a kid enrolled. The fact that charters need to hold a lottery if they're oversubscribed, that they can't charge tuition. So, they seem to...
So does this mean that charters are capture people's hearts and minds once they show up?
I don't know. I don't think we can conclude all that much about that, because it could be the case that the reason why there are charters in these areas is that people were already more supportive of the idea, and that's exactly why charters have located there. What we can say, I think, is that the presence of a charter and the fact that that presence often generates a lot of heated debate in local politics hasn't been enough yet to undermine support for charters. If anything, it seems to have been something of the opposite.
So there's a good reason to think that if charters should spread, charter support could spread.
It could.
Well,
it could.
It could. Okay, but does that mean school choice is very popular all over the map?
No, certainly not. In fact, one of the other things that we've seen over the 4 years that we've conducted our survey is a dramatic decline in support for school vouchers. So support for private school choice, or at least the most prominent example of private school choice policies, has really dropped quite dramatically.
So choice opinion is going in two directions. It's picking up support for charters, especially among minorities, but it's not, the voucher idea is not spreading.
That's right. That's right.
Thank you, Marty.
Thank you.
Look forward to talking to you soon.